Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3.
This is a KUGR sports production.
Good pass down low to Airstrip, and he scores off the glass.
Giving you play-by-play coverage of all your favorite WSU athletics.
He doesn't get it! He stuffs at the line!
Football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and more.
Absolutely electrifying play from Washington State to get them right back in this game.
Follow us on YouTube at KUGR Sports to listen to every game live.
What a play! What a kill by Brewstad!
Never miss a moment with the best in the West. KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse.
Gets the Cougs on the board with less than 20 seconds remaining in this first period. Here come the Cougs.
And now, on to the game.
The Cougars are back in Beasley tonight after losing both games last week to tip off the season. They return home after Friday's road loss to Davidson, sitting at 0-2 on the year to meet the 1-1 St. Thomas Tommies, who were picked first in the Summit League preseason poll. The Cougars have their work cut out for them tonight, seeking their first win of the year. And hi, everybody. Davis Hagen alongside Charlie Templeton from Beasley Coliseum. So glad to have you with us for this presentation of Cougar basketball on KUGR. And Charlie, no denying last week did not go the way Washington State wanted. How do they rebound from last week's disappointing start?
Well, it wasn't all bad. They looked very good in the second half of a couple of those games. The main issue for them is they just got down early, got themselves into too big of a hole. Very close loss to Idaho in the home opener. Not what you wanted at all. Both men's and women's go down to Idaho. In that men's game, just fell short. And then against Davidson, again, fell down early. Can't quite climb back. St. Thomas, a very similar caliber opponent to what they've played already this year. So if they can avoid going down early with how good they've looked in some of these second halves, they might be able to get a win here at home.
There's a couple big impact players in this game for both sides, but for Washington State, their leading scorer on the year is Emmanuel Ugbo, and he's got to have a big night tonight.
Absolutely. Certainly an interesting career for him. Boise State last year, senior only in second season. So far on this season, 16.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks. That leads the team. He's been a key part of this Cougars team and has been really one of the big reasons that they've really been in these two games so far this year.
He's a guy that came off the bench against Idaho, got the start against Davidson. He's going to be a crucial player in this game if they want to get their first win of the year against the Tommies. And for the Tommies, Nolan Minasali, a guy from Wisconsin that goes to a school in Minnesota, he's got to be the lifeblood of this team.
Absolutely, and he has been a monster so far this year. 22 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4 assists are his averages so far. And with this Cougar defense not exactly being the best, he could have an absolute monster showing tonight against the Cougs.
And the starting lineups are being announced for Washington State and St. Thomas. Charlie, we talked before this game about the Cougars getting down early, but what are your keys to the game overall for Washington State to pick up their first win of the year?
Well, like we talked about, don't go down early because they've proven so far through the first couple of games that they cannot come back. They've gotten close, but the other thing that they have to do, they have to shoot the ball. They do it. They throw a lot of fakes, throw a lot of moves, but they don't shoot as much as they have to because eventually these pump fakes just aren't going to work if they don't shoot. And, it may sound obvious, but in basketball, you can't score if you don't shoot.
That's absolutely right. There have been a lot of pump fakes. This team likes to utilize the pump fake, but they're not going to fall for it if you don't shoot the ball.
No, we might need to keep a counter going up here.
Exactly right. We'll see how Washington State fares against St. Thomas as both starting lineups are on the court. We'll go through those right now. St. Thomas runs a lot of guards. Their tallest player is just 6'9". For Washington State, their big man, Andy Okafor, he's 6'10", so a pretty small lineup for both sides. No 7-footers in this matchup, but for St. Thomas at guard, it's Nolan Minasali, the Summit League Player of the Year. And another guard is Ryan Dufault. Their third guard is Nick Janowski, the lefty. And their fourth guard is Ben Osterbahn, who's also a big man, 6'6" himself. And the big man down low, Carter Bierke. He's 6'9". He's their best big man on the team. And for the Cougars, their starting lineup, 3 guards, 2 forwards. Tomas Thraskerson at guard. Another guard, Jerome Morton. The point guard for the Cougars with a large wingspan, over 7 feet, Adria Rodriguez. The forward, Emmanuel Ugbo, their leading scorer this year. And the center for this team is N.D. Okafor. It'll be Okafor and Bierke to tip things off. Cougars in the home white with the crimson trim, moving our broadcast left to right. St. Thomas in the purple uniforms with gray trim, moving right to left. And we are underway between the Cougs and the Tommies. And it's St. Thomas to control the opening tip. We're underway from Beasley in the second home game of the year. This is Ryan Dufault at guard. Gets it to Minnesali. Top of the key. Three-pointer on the way. Front of the rim, no good. A miss from Carter Bierke. The ball tracked down from Okafor and Ugbo. And Washington State gets a stop on their opening possession. Morton will bring it up on the right side of the court. Guarded by Dufault. Finds Rodriguez. Top of the key. Off-ball movement by the Cougars, trying to get players open in space to get them the ability to shoot. They've been hesitant to shoot early in games so far. Tomas Thraskerson gets it on the cut. Tries to find a backdoor cut to Ugbo. Turns it over. And here comes Ben Osterbahn. Gets it to Minnesali. And he's a Summit League preseason player of the year. And he gets bumped by Jerome Morton and picks up a foul. So Jerome Morton picks up the first personal and team foul of the game.
Yeah, just looking back at that first possession for St. Thomas. Got a good look top of the key. A little bit surprised that ended up being a shot as fast as it was. A lot of time left on the clock. Definitely had an opportunity to do something as the shot clock was coming down, but just decided to take a shot with about 18 left.
Quick inbound into the corner. Janowski fires a three off the rim and a rebound for the Cougars. They push, so still 0-0. 19 minutes to play in the first half of this game. Down low to Okafor, and the ball was kicked. And they're going to blow the whistle. And Washington State will get it to inbound. So 0-0, 19:02 on the clock. Morton to inbound from the baseline underneath the basket on the right side of the court. Bounce pass into Ugbo, guarded by Osterbahn. A height mismatch there. A dribble handoff to Rodriguez. Down low. He doesn't shoot the ball a whole ton. Finds N.D. Okafor spinning inside the lane. Gets the right hand free and scores the first basket of the game. 2-0 Cougs.
Yeah, just able to get defender on either side of him. Just able to power past him, get a layup up and in.
Dufault brings it up the floor for the St. Thomas Tommies. Gets down underneath the basket. Osterbahn pump fake on Thraskerson. Gets it to Bierke outside. Big man will shoot a three at the top of the key. Off the back iron. Tomas Thraskerson skies for the rebound and picks up the board. 2-0 Cougars. 18.5 minutes to play in the first half. Rodriguez gets the pass. Dribbles in. Hangs in the air. Fires it to Thraskerson. Top of the key. Three-pointer off the front. Okafor tracks it down. Good hustle to keep that ball in. Offensive rebound. He falls into the front row stands on the far side. Corner three-pointer for Thraskerson. Rolls in, and the Cougars start 5-0 up on St. Thomas with 18 minutes to play in the first half.
And it's certainly been fantastic movement so far from Washington State. Thraskerson's been open twice, wide open on those threes. Missed the first one, gets the second one to go. 5-0 Washington State.
Tomas averaging 13 points a game so far this year, up from his around 5-point average last year. Corner for Janowski. The lefty fires a three. Front of the rim, no good. Thraskerson gets another rebound for Washington State. Pushing the pace coast to coast. 4 Tommies around him. Finds Morton. Swinging around the perimeter. Ends up in the hands of Rodriguez on the right side, directing traffic. 17:30 on the clock. 5-0 Cougs. Ugbo swings it to Thraskerson. Far side for Morton. Tipped and intercepted. Bierke gets the turnover for the Tommies. Gets it to Minnesali, who goes coast to coast quickly. Jab step. Three-pointer, Osterbahn, and the Tommies cannot find the bottom of the net. They are 0 for to start this game. 0 for 5. All of them have been three-pointers. Morton gets a screen from Ugbo, and substitutions come to the scorer's table for the first time. Jerome Morton finds Thraskerson inside. Physical layup is good. 7-0 Washington State.
And like I said last time, just again, fantastic move from Washington State. Finding holes in this defense. That's leading to points.
16:45 on the clock. First half. 7-0 Cougars are up by a touchdown. Dufault fires it to Bierke. He's going to try again. That one won't fall. 0 for 6 to start from 3 for St. Thomas.
And I believe he personally is 0 for 3.
Their big man has been open for a reason. Okafor inside, hangs in the air, missed the shot right at the restricted arc. Ball bounces around, and it's off of Birke, who has not had a great start to this game. And Washington State will retain possession. Ace Glass and Amelia Laho into the game for Washington State. We'll see who comes out for the Cougs. It's going to be the big man Okafor and maybe Morton. And he says, no, I'm staying in the game. Rodriguez, you're coming out. So Andrea Rodriguez and Okafor will go to the bench. Morton will inbound it. 16:26 on the clock first half. 7-0 Cougars. Morton bounce pass inbound to Ugbo. Morton gets the ball back on a dribble handoff. Top of the key. Sizing up the defense. Fires it to Thrasserson. Pump fake. No doubt he was going to drive on that pump fake. St. Thomas ready for it. 8 seconds to shoot. Swing pass to Thrasserson. Right corner. Three-pointer splash. 10-0 Cougs.
I mean, I'll tell you, it's just been a heater for Washington State so far. Their shots are falling. St. Thomas's aren't. And this one looks like it could get out of reach. Cougars have not fallen behind early. St. Thomas is falling behind early.
Minnesale on the drive. Kicks it to Janowski. Good defense from Morton. Free throw line. Picks up his dribble. Minnesale gets the ball against Yalaho. Drives to the cup. Physical finish. Throws it up, and he gets fouled. And we've reached our first media timeout. Charlie, your first impressions as it's 10-0 Cougars with 15:47 on the clock.
Well, I think St. Thomas has brought the cold with them. They are ice cold from the field so far to start this game. Double digits for the Cougs so far into the first media timeout. They've looked good. As I've said a couple times, ball movements looked good. Washington State defensively has looked good. Looking at St. Thomas, they keep getting these open looks for their big men top of the key, and it just has not worked so far today. Look for them to switch something up because what they're doing right now has not put points on the board.
Cougars off to a hot start. 10-0 Washington State. 15:47 on the clock in the first half. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. What a start for the Cougars. 10-0 over the Tommies. 15:47 on the clock. Tomas Thrasserson, 3 for 4 so far. 2 of 3 from the three-point line. 8 points.
Well, it is early, but if you say you can score, if you scored 80% of your team's points in a game, he'll take it.
Absolutely. And if Tomas Thrasserson can be the leading scorer for this team, I think David Riley in his second year with the Cougs would be very happy for the Icelandic native, as Reeve Vavers has checked into the game as well as Simon Hildebrandt. So 4 bench players into the game with Jerome Morton, the starter, still at point guard. Minnesale at the free throw line. Misses the first, and St. Thomas cannot find any rhythm on offense, even at the free throw line.
No, and 4 and a bit into this game, that was their first shot in the paint.
And it comes from the free throw line, and Minnesale knocks it down. So it's 10-1, their first points in Pullman ever. This is the first meeting between these two teams. Jerome Morton brings it up, crossing over against Ryan Lafferty, who's into the game for the first time for the Tommies. Kick it to the corner. Hildebrandt thought about the 3, drives in instead. Physical finish, and he gets fouled. He'll go to the line for 2.
Good job there, not being scared to get some contact. Goes up. He knew he was going to get fouled if he did. He goes forward anyway, and he'll be shooting too. So nice little reward for a little bit of contact.
You're using the pump fakes effectively in this game. When you can shoot the three-pointer, Hildebrandt used the pump fake, drives to the cup, and he gets to the free throw line. His first one on the way, and it rolls in. So it's 11-1 Washington State, 15.5 on the clock. Hildebrandt, a transfer from High Point. Didn't play all that much last year for High Point when they went to their first ever NCAA tournament. And he hits the front of the rim and knocks it down on the second free throw. 12-1. And Austin Hero gets the inbound, the brother of Tyler Hero, who plays for the Miami Heat in the NBA.
If you were looking at the rosters for the game, yes, we can confirm. If you made that connection, you were right.
When I first saw it, I thought maybe, but there's no way. And then, indeed, it is Austin Hero. He's going to try it from the top of the key, and he rolls it in just like his brother, a sharpshooter from deep.
Well, they're going to keep firing from deep. That time it worked. We'll see if it keeps working.
Their first three-point make of the game. They're now 1 of 7, 12-4. Vavers gets the ball, far side, three-pointer. No good. That's his first shot of the season, and he missed it. 12-4. Washington State in front, 14:50 on the clock. Austin Hero swings it to Minnesota, guarded by Vavers. Back to Hero. Dribble penetration from Johnson Arrigo. Left side, guarded by Ace Glass. Height mismatch. 6'7" Johnson Arrigo has to fire it out to the top of the key. Minnesota dribbling in. 4 seconds to shoot. Underneath. Good pass on the backdoor cut, and it's Lafferty to lay it in.
Well, whatever they talked about in the media timeout for St. Thomas clearly worked. They look a lot better than they did coming in. They've closed the gap a little bit, 6-12, 14-17 to play in the first half.
Yalaho at the top of the key. Dribble handoff to Ace Glass. Trying to get Yalaho free. Working against Jeremiah Coleman. Kick it out to Hildebrandt. Three-pointer on the way. Bounces off the rim. Comes to the corner. And that's where Coleman picks up the rebound.
Only 2 rebounds for St. Thomas so far tonight.
Minnesota distributing the ball off the dribble drive. Swing it all the way around to Horn to Hero. Right side, dribble drive into the paint. Kick it out. Johnson Arrigo to the rim. Hangs in the air and finishes. And the Tommies have cut the lead to just 4.
Well, it looks like these two teams have essentially switched during the TV timeout. Washington State has gone cold. St. Thomas, maybe they just need a little bit of heat. They got it from Hero.
Jerome Morton drives in, and I see what you did there. Jerome Morton drives in, gets fouled.
I was hoping you'd catch that.
It was very clever. So a foul called on the drive. Minnesota gets put with the foul in the scorebook, and so Morton will shake off the fall on the hardwood, and he goes to the free throw line. The Tommies right now on a 7-0 run over the last minute and 39 seconds, and 3 out of their last 3 from the field.
And a big two shots here for Washington State. They get the first.
Morton knocks it down, 13-8 Cougars. Yalaho comes out. Parker Garrett's and Andy Okafor into the game. Ace Glass also heads to the bench. So the Cougars using fresh legs early. Adria Rodriguez waiting at the scores table to come in for the shooter. Jerome Morton makes the second free throw. 14-8 Washington State. 13:34 on the clock. And Rodriguez checks back into the game. Cougars applying a full court pressure.
Yeah, no surprise Washington State's putting some of their starters back in. It was working for them early. Hasn't really worked out in the last couple of minutes. So go back to what worked, I think, is the idea there.
So Ryan Lafferty from Spokane, Washington. Probably familiar with the Cougars. At the top of the key, guarded by Vavers. Dribble handoff on the outside. Johnson Arrigo with it on the left side. Spinning, falling down. Finds Austin Hero. Dribble penetration. Kick out to Lafferty. Gets the Cougars on their heels. Corner three-pointer. Jeremiah Coleman can't get it to fall. 1 of 8 for St. Thomas now on the three-point line. Cougars bring it up the floor in transition. The pass from Garretts gets intercepted right in his face by Austin Hero. Up ahead quickly to Janowski. Reverse layup is good, and it's 14-10.
Hero's had a huge impact since he came in. He's really just revitalized the St. Thomas team. Huge steal there. Easy transition bucket. And here comes St. Thomas. Don't look now.
Okafor drives from the free throw line to the block and gets it to roll. 16-10 Cougars. And Andy Okafor gets into the scoring column for the second time. Austin Hero kick to the corner. Johnson Arrigo with a three-pointer. Airballed it. And Rodriguez gets the rebound. Pushing the pace, picked up his dribble, has to heave it to Vavers in the corner. Down low to Andy Okafor, has a chance to post up. Into the middle, hop step, and puts it up. Missed the shot, and he can't track down his own rebound, and Hero pulls it down for St. Thomas. 12 minutes to play, 16-10 Cougars. Lafferty in transition, and a foul going to be called. It's going to be a double dribble or an offensive foul, and it's an offensive foul on Austin Hero. And the Cougars will retain possession.
Well, the Cougars bench really wanted that foul, and they get it.
Yeah, they stood up immediately as Austin Hero barreled into the key. 16-10 advantage for Washington State. Tomas Thrasterson, their leading scorer, back into the game. He's got 8 points to lead all players in this game. He's made 2 3-pointers already. Rodriguez on the right side. Off ball motion. Thrasserson gets open, top of the key on a curl and shoot, and he knocks it down. 19-10 Cougars.
Well, the math for Washington State says give him the ball more because he hits them.
Already up to
Thrasserson,
double digits.
fantastic game so far today. He has 11.
19-10 Cougars. Lafferty looking for somewhere to go with the ball. Osterbahn gets it to Janowski, dribble drive. Another reverse layup is good, and he's been physical so far, getting to his offhand. He's a lefty, but he finishes with the right. 19-12, 11:20 to go. Thrasserson, far side, pump fake. Step back, three-pointer off the back of the rim, and a rebound for Bierke.
Well, he finally misses one, but it took a defender absolutely all over him for him to miss.
11 minutes to play. 7-point advantage for the Cougs. Bierke pump fakes on the three. Dribble drive. Picks up his dribble. Janowski on the far side. He tries his hand. Ends up back with him. Lafferty pressured by Garrett into the corner. Austin Hero, three-pointer. Too strong. Tapped around with the rebound, and Rodriguez comes out with it. Getting pressured by Hero, and a foul picked up. That's Austin Hero's second as we've reached the second media timeout. 10:43 on the clock, 19-12 Washington State.
Well, I'll tell you what, with how well Austin Hero's been playing, Washington State picking up a couple fouls against him is huge in this game because he's been a big problem for this Cougar defense so far.
Thrasserson has been the story. 11 points so far, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. 19-12 Washington State, 10:43 on the clock. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Cougars with their best start of the season so far against St. Thomas, back at home for the second time this year. It's 19-12. Davis Hagen alongside Charlie Templeton. So glad to be with you here for KUGR. 10:43 on the clock in the first half, and St. Thomas right now 1 of 10 from the three-point line, still 12 points, so they've changed up their strategy a little bit.
Yeah, they have. They had a couple of possessions very early in the game where they had a couple of big men three-point attempts. I wouldn't say threes because they didn't hit them, but they've gone away from that. They've done a lot more action in the lanes, getting layups, and that's really worked for them. They've really incorporated Hero into the offense since he's checked in. They did get a three as well, but we have definitely seen a shift in offensive philosophy since that first media timeout. We will see if they continue that, or maybe they go back to it. It looked like they were going back to it a little bit before this last timeout. We'll see what they do.
Manuel Ugbo to inbound back in the game, as well as Ace Glass for the Cougars. 19-12, 10:40 on the clock. Unfortunately for St. Thomas, Austin Hero has 2 fouls, and he's on the bench. Rodriguez on the right wing tries to get it down low to Okafor, and the ball is kicked by Ben Osterbahn from Hinsdale, Illinois.
Well, so it'll be from the baseline for Washington State.
Rodriguez to inbound. With 10:33 on the clock in the first half, throws it up to Thrasserson, who elevates to catch it. Ugbo backing down. Osterbahn picks up his dribble, fires it out to Rodriguez, right wing. 10 seconds to shoot for the Cougars. Rodriguez dribble penetration, hangs in the air, off the glass, can't get it to roll. Offensive rebound, Ugbo, and 1 for the big man.
Great job by Ugbo there. Just spot where that rebound was coming, flies in a sea of purple, and is able to put the layup up again.
21-12, Washington State in front. Ugbo with the and one. That's his first bucket of the game. The Cougs leading scorer, block man, and rebounder so far this year. At the line for one, as Charlie mentioned early in the broadcast, 1 year played in college basketball, yet he's a senior. He spent 2 years really not doing much at Boise State, but he's still listed as a senior. He can appeal for 1 more year of eligibility, but in a day and age where people play 7 years and they're listed as a junior, for him to only play 1 and be listed as a senior is quite stunning. 22-12 as he knocks down the free throw. St. Thomas back the other way. Minnesota back into the game. In the corner, Ben Osterbond, pump fake on the far side, picks up his dribble. Pressured by Okafor, fires it out. Minnesota, top of the key, gets Ugbo to bite on the pump fake. St. Thomas really moving the ball around at a quick clip. Nobody's holding it for more than 2 seconds. Janowski will fire a three, and it goes. It bounces up high over the backboard and comes back down and goes in.
Yeah, I'm sure someone can explain the geometry of that one, but bounced around a couple times. Took maybe a lucky bounce, maybe not. Either way, it goes in.
22-15. St. Thomas hits their second three of the game, now 2 for 11. Rodriguez gets free. He's going to fire from deep. Rodriguez gets the rattle home.
Yeah, and just that Janowski's playing on that possession, played way too far off him. He allowed him to take the shot, and he made him pay.
25-15. Washington State shooting a great clip so far, 50% from the three-point line, 4 of 8. Minnesota, St. Thomas's best player, guarded by Okafor. Osterbond into the lane, guarded by Thrasterson, puts up the mid-range jumper, and it does not fall. Ugbo with the quick rebound, coast-to-coast action, trucks over Minnesota and picks up the offensive foul. And that was a clear-as-day offensive foul on Ugbo. He lowered the shoulder and delivered the boom, but the whistle's blown, and it goes back to St. Thomas. 25-15, Cougars in front.
Would have been a great move. It was on a Saturday. Fortunately for him, not the right sport.
Yeah, Cougars,
offensive foul, definitely defense in position, standing their ground. That's going to be an offensive foul every time.
Yeah, Cougars could use Ugbo on the football field. Got a couple more games to get to a bowl game. Maybe they could use him. 25-15. St. Thomas back with possession, trying to get this thing under 10. Minnesota gets bumped by Ugbo, and that's 2 quick fouls on Washington State's best offensive weapon so far this season. And he'll head to the bench as Hildebrandt goes to the scorer's table to check in.
That's a very similar situation to what happened with Hero for St. Thomas. For Ugbo, a little bit unlucky. That didn't look like too much contact on that second foul. I think very much the offensive foul was very clear. That one I would say a bit borderline, but he will go to the bench with 2 fouls.
St. Thomas resumes play as Ugbo heads to the bench. Janowski, dribble drive against Morton. Puts it up, missed it. Thrasterson rips down the rebound. Accelerating over half court, crossing over against Minnesota, losing the ball. 2 Tommies dive for it. Janowski ends up with it, and they get the timeout called as 8:23 reads on the clock. 25-15 Cougs. Great start for Washington State so far, but this is different than they've seen so far. So the first couple games, they start slow. Now they start fast. Different territory for the Cougars, but they still have to finish the game.
Yeah, and just already in this first half, they get up to a red-hot start, and they have started to cool down a little bit. You got to think in this timeout, they'll get a chance to talk over strategy, maybe come up with something different to try to build back that lead again. 10 points, not a lead you're going to complain about with this amount of time left. Wanted to focus real quick on rebounds. A little bit more than half gone in the first half. Washington State out-rebounding St. Thomas 14-4. And you can see it during that run the Washington State had. They were out-rebounding St. Thomas. I think it was 7-0 in that run. And that's how you get a big lead like that. You get second chance points. You deny second chance points on the other end. And if they can keep doing that, I think they have a great chance to pull out a win here today and a much-needed first win of the season, because it may not be as big as football, but Apple Cup basketball is coming up, and it means a lot.
Definitely a good time to have a home stretch for Washington State after they lose the first 2 games of the year. They come back home tonight to play St. Thomas, and then, as you mentioned, on Friday, they have the Huskies coming to town here at Beasley Coliseum. That's going to be a big matchup, and I'm sure a lot of fans are excited about that one. But for the team right now, focusing on those rebounds is very big, especially that's what David Riley wants to see this season. Last year's team wasn't great at rebounding or defense or turning the ball over, and this year they're doing a great job of all those things, but they haven't put it together for wins yet. But it's definitely starting to come together more as this team gets more time with each other. Only 5 players returned from last year, so still a lot to work out. But if you can out-rebound a team in St. Thomas that is very athletic and is very good and projected to win their league, I think you're in a good spot.
Absolutely. And Cougars 4 turnovers today, not ideal, not as bad as it has been. Some marginal improvement. I imagine they'll take that, out-rebound it. And again, as we said, they're up 10. So they will take it.
So far in this game, Washington State out shooting their normal shooting percentage by 11 percentage points from the field. They normally shoot 42%. They're shooting 53%. So they're having a great day from everywhere, but especially the three-point line. 50% three-point shooting for Washington State. The other side for St. Thomas, just 18% three-point shooting, 2 of 11. So if St. Thomas can get some of these three-pointers to fall, that's really when Washington State could be in trouble because they are getting looks. Maybe not the exact players they want to be shooting them, but they're getting looks. And so if they start to fall, they can start to come back in this game.
Absolutely. And looking at that massive 50% from three, that's because of Thomas Rasmussen. He's been fantastic.
Back underway. The Tommies have possession. 8:20 to play. In the corner, Bierke gets it out to Minnesale. He's been quiet so far. Just 1 point for the Summit League preseason player of the year. Left wing guarded by Yalaho. Gets the switch into the paint. Puts up a floater. That doesn't go. It's too strong. And Hildebrandt skies for the rebound. We've reached under 8 minutes to play. Next whistle will be a media timeout. Ace Glass dribble. Three-pointer. Rims out. It was a good shot from Ace Glass, and Bierke gets the rebound for St. Thomas. Minnesale pushes the pace. Bierke thought about the three. You know he wants to shoot it. He's shot a couple already. He's 0 for 3 from deep. In the corner, Coleman knocks down a three for St. Thomas, just their third of the game.
Great shot with Glass coming in on him, feels the pressure, gets it in.
Ace Glass going back to work on offense. Bounce pass down low to Tomas Thrasherson, who hangs in the air and finishes off the glass. 27-18 advantage Washington State. 7:20 to play. Minnesale quickly the other way. A blocking foul is called, and Minnesale laid it in. Will they call continuation? There's a rule change this year that will allow continuation, so they do count it. Minnesale will go to the line for one shot. So 27-20, the new score, as Tomas Thrasherson picks up the blocking foul, and Minnesale just ran him over.
Well, and ever since that 11-1 start, St. Thomas has been slowly but surely getting that lead back. They closed it to 9, then 8, then 7, now 6. They're getting closer.
Minnesale knocks down the free throw. Nothing but net for the Tommies. 7:11 to play. Jerome Morton, bounce pass to Yalaho. 7:05 to play in the first half. 27-21 Cougs. Can they maintain this momentum? Jerome Morton to the cup, hangs in the air. Fires it out to Tomas Thrasherson. Perfection, 30-21 Cougars. Another three-pointer for Tomas Thrasherson.
And he has been automatic from three today.
Turnover by the Tommies. Hildebrandt ends up with it. Gets it to Garrett's point guard instead of the big man. Wisely done by Hildebrandt. Cougars settle things down. They can work their offense. Yalaho on the far side, backing down Coleman. Swings it out to Tomas Thrasherson. Dribble penetration into the lane. Hangs in the air and gets fouled. And so he will go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Tomas Thrasherson up to 16 points. His career high is 17.
Well, he's breaking that.
Oh, yeah. Tomas Thrasherson so far up to one of the best starts of his career. If his career high is 17, he's got 16 with 6.5 minutes left in the first half. By far will break that. He had it against Idaho and Loyola Marymount.
And he's just tied his career high with a chance to break it with another free throw to go.
Absolutely. 31-21. Tomas at the free throw line. Chance to get a new career high. Second free throw on the way. It's perfect. And has secured himself a new career high with 18 points in the first half. 32-21. Cougars in front. By far their best start of the year against St. Thomas.
Let's see how high he can take his new record.
Yeah, if you're going to get to 18 with 6 minutes remaining in the first half, you might get to 30 by the time the game is done.
Let's not give him a commentator's curse.
Lafferty at the free throw line, spinning, looking for somebody. It's Hero with 2 fouls. Comes back into the game late in the first half. Coleman heaves it up with 1 on the shot clock, airballs the 3, and turns it over.
He sent it from a long way back, but he didn't have much of a choice. Cougar defense, fantastic job on that possession. St. Thomas had no other choice but to send up essentially a half-court shot that had no chance.
11-point lead for Washington State. Under 6 minutes. Yalaho into the lane through the hands of Hildebrandt on the pass. Lafferty comes out with it. Gets to the corner and now tries to back down Parker Garretts, who gets his hand on the ball, saves it inbounds to Morton. What a play by Parker Garretts. The Coug through and through to Yalaho, and one for the Cougars, 34-21. What a start for Washington State.
And I think he might have gotten fouled as well.
Yalaho will go to the free throw line on the and one with Reeve Vavers set to check in. He'll come in for Tomas Thrasterson with his 18 points. Tomas heads to the bench. Yalaho got the and one, so a steal from Garretts, gets it to Morton, and then immediately to Yalaho for the layup. That's great basketball.
I mean, talk about a momentum play. St. Thomas gets the ball back, trying to start the comeback again. They had a great chance at it with a fast break. All of a sudden, in a matter of seconds, everything changes. Washington State wide open on the other end and with a free throw, which they get.
So Yalaho knocks it down, 35-21. Cougars on an 8-0 run over the last minute and a half. And another turnover by the Tommies. Vavers hangs and scores his first point of the season. Great job by Reeve Vavers, and a timeout called by the Tommies and coach Johnny Tower. That is 4 turnovers in the last 2 minutes for St. Thomas, and they're down 37-21. Reeve Vavers, the Quinnipiac transfer on the team last year, was hurt most of the year, gets his first bucket right there.
Yeah, and St. Thomas, I think you have to call timeout there. Yeah, you lose a big momentum play, then you immediately turn the ball over into another layup. That's a big swing there. Just calm everybody down, come up with a plan, get points on this next possession, reset it. It's all right. You're not down too bad, 16. Still 5 minutes in the first, plenty of time to play. Come up with a plan, get some points on this next possession. Looking at that final Cougar possession, one end, Dufault throws his hands up. He's asking, what can I do? You've given me no choice. I got a guy running down the lane. I have nothing I can do.
Yeah, Dufault, they're putting the pressure on, and when you're completely abandoned by your teammates, it makes it a lot harder. But then also when you throw it into no man's land, it's going to make it even worse.
Absolutely.
So Minnesale will throw things in. He's got 4 points for the Tommies. They need him to get to his average. The average is over 20 points per game. He's got the ball on the left side of the court, trapped by 2 Cougars, Vavers and Morton. Gets it to Janowski to break the timeline. Minnesale to the rim, skying for a dunk, a two-hand jam for Minnesale. And it's 37-23.
Well, Cougars were swarming to the ball there. The only issue is if you do that, if a guy gets a run, there's not much you can do.
Vavers on the right side, fresh off his first bucket of the season, finding Morton. To get to the corner with Yalaho, out to Garretts on the far wing. 10 seconds to shoot for the Cougars. Bounce pass down low to Hildebrandt. Right block. Will pull up and miss it short. Yalaho gets the offensive rebound, and he's fouled by Isaiah Johnson-Arrigo. So 37-23. Cougars doing exactly what they want to do this year, and that's play great defense and then respond with offense on the other side.
Absolutely. And that's Jackson Arrigo's second foul. He'll go to the bench.
Foul trouble for the Tommies. They've got 8 fouls with 4.5 minutes left in the first half. Garretts, Hildebrandt, and Morton to the bench. Glass, Rodriguez, and Okafor in. Yalaho with nothing but net on his first of the 1-and-1, makes it 38-23.
Expands the Cougar lead to 15.
Second free throw for Yalaho is good. The Texas Tech transfer having a great start to this game. The whole team really having their best game of the season, 39-23. Still shooting 50% from the three-point line, 57% from the field. Haven't missed a free throw either. 39-23, 4:20 to play. Steal by Adria Rodriguez. That's what he does best. To the lane and the layup. 41-23. Rodriguez, the Spaniard, uses his 7-foot wingspan to pick the pocket and score.
Fantastic job there. He has essentially a one-on-one. He has Janowski slated behind him. Good job there. Just slows it down a tiny bit. Cuts to the inside. Wide open. Nothing Janowski could do.
Dufault gets it to Bierke, the big man. Left-hand dribble drive. Watching the ball as he dribbles it. Minnesale gets it on the outside. Three-pointer, back rim. Vavers gets the rebound. Ace Glass gets the pass from Vavers, drives to the free throw line, hop step to the corner, and misses the mid-range jumper. It was hanging on the rim for a second, but it didn't fall. 41-23, 3:30 to play first half. Minnesota on the right side. Kick it to the corner. Bierke missed it. And he is 0 for 4 from the three-point line, but the big man's going to keep shooting. Rodriguez hanging in the air and almost came down with a travel, but finds Yalaho at the last second on the right side. Vavers top of the key. Glass passes to Rodriguez. Bounce pass down low to Okafor on the Pac-12 logo on the far side. Guarded by Bierke. Dribbles to the middle. Hop step. Looking for an outlet. Finds Rodriguez. 4 seconds to shoot. Jab step. Baseline drive underneath. Left-hand layup is good for Rodriguez.
Gets the reverse as time expires. Washington State now by 20, 43-23. And, I mean, you can't ask for much more than what they've done in this first half. It's been fantastic through 18.
Janowski gets the ball at the top of the key and fires in a sniper shot from the three-point line. 43-26. Janowski, one of their best three-point shooters on the team. Rodriguez, top of the key. Driving in. Gets the defender to move past him and finishes at the rim.
Well, there was 3 purple jerseys right underneath the basket. I don't know how he got through all 3 of them. Looking at the scorers table, Rasmussen looks like he's going to come in for the end of the first half.
Bierke outside. Fires to Janowski, guarded by Rodriguez. Minnesota gets the pass. He's open, fires back to Bierke. Pump fake on the three-pointer. Goes into the lane. An awkward pass out to Minnesota in the corner, who drives past Okafor. Gets to the rim, an easy layup for the Tommies. 45-28, Cougars still in front.
And Minnesota is starting to get going a little bit here as the first half comes to an end.
Vavers on the far side with the pass from Glass off the front of the rim on his three-point shot. Minute 45 to play. Janowski brings it over half court. All by himself in the middle of the lane. Puts it up. Doesn't get the roll. Okafor rips down the board. And the Cougars with a minute and a half. Rodriguez says, let's slow things down. 45-28. Cougars up by 17. Okafor out of the top of the key. Guarded off about 4.5 feet by Bierke. Glass comes open off the dribble handoff. Fires a 3 and knocks it down. Cougs up 20.
Washington State's 50% from 3. That's fantastic from them. First, that explains why they almost have 50.
By far their best first half of the year, up by 20 with 1 minute to play. Minnesota, top of the key, pump fake, picks up his dribble, nowhere to go. Guarded by Okafor, gets it back from Bierke as he passed it to him. Back to Dufault in the corner, 5 to shoot for the Tommies. Dufault to the lane, finishes over Vavers on the dribble drive. So 43 seconds to go. Washington State will call a timeout in the backcourt. And the Cougars use their use it or lose it timeout. 48-30. What a start by Washington State. Trying to pick up their first win of the year. 42 seconds left in the first half. We'll step away and come back with the conclusion of the first half. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. 48-30. Washington State out in front against St. Thomas, and Charlie Tomas Thrasserson back into the game. They call a timeout. Maybe they're just trying to get him to 20 points.
Yeah, perhaps seemed to me a bit odd that they were calling timeout. You got all the momentum on your side. There's only 43 seconds left in the half. Sure, it is a use it or lose it timeout, but why use it if you don't have to? You're up 18. Seems a bit of an odd decision, but they might be trying to get Tomas Rasmussen to 20. We'll see what happens here. Cougars inbounded.
Rasmussen with the inbound, under 40 seconds to play. Rodriguez brings it over half court. Fires to Hildebrand on the right side. Dribble penetration into the lane. Picks up his dribble. Gets him in the air. Puts it up with the left hand and gets fouled. He'll go to line for 2. Jermaine Coleman will pick up the foul for St. Thomas.
Well, and importantly, 34.2 remaining, which means if we get a full shot clock, no reset, Washington State will get the ball back.
Yeah, chance for the 2-for-1. They went quickly. They're only going to have about 3.5 seconds to work with if they get it back, but that's plenty of time. Hildebrandt at the free throw line, rattles it home. 49-30 the score. Hildebrandt, if you can knock this one down, would put the Cougs to 50. Hildebrandt's at 3 points so far. 3 for 3 from the free throw line.
Not only want to give them 50, it would put them up 20.
And he knocks it down. So 50-30, Washington State in front by 20 against St. Thomas. Hayden Tibbetts into the game for the first time. The Minnesota native with 25 seconds on the clock. About a 3-second differential between shot and game clock as we head towards the end of this first half. Ryan Lafferty way out by the Friel Court wordmark logo on the far side. Finds Tibbetts on the left side. Screen way outside by Johnson Arrigu. Jab step off the pick and roll. Goes to the lane. Missed it. 4 seconds to play. Hildebrandt gets the defensive rebound. Fires to Rodriguez. Half-court heave on the way. Bounces high off the glass. Does not go in. But that is the first half buzzer. 50-30. Washington State in front of St. Thomas. Charlie, your thoughts so far in this first half?
Well, like I said a couple minutes ago, can't ask for much more from the Cougars. They've been fantastic. Lights out from 3, shooting 50%. Defensively, they've been fantastic. 20 rebounds in the first half. And as for St. Thomas, you got to think maybe a little bit unlucky on those three-pointers. You're shooting them at 25%. You're hitting half of the amount that Washington State is. To be only down 20, they've been out of a good game. They really, really need Minnesota to get into this game in the second half if they're going to have a chance to come back. But Washington State, they've had trouble coming back. They're not going to need to come back, hopefully, for them tonight, given the score at half. You got any thoughts?
I thought it was a great first half by Washington State to do what they set out to do this season. Play great defense, get rebounds, get everybody involved. It's a 50-30 lead for the Cougars as we've hit the half. 50-30, probably a really good stat for Washington State to try to have 50 points because you're only averaging around 70 points per game. If you can get 50 in the first half and hold your opponent to 30, I think they set themselves up really well for the second half.
Well, if you do the same thing, that's 160 final score. I mean, your offense is really going and your defense has been fantastic. I can't have to imagine that they won't repeat what they did in the first half and the second half. I just don't think the amount of threes they're going in right now is sustainable. But if they can produce something that looks remotely like this, I think they have a great chance of taking home their first win of the year and their first home win as well.
Cougars up by 20 over St. Thomas, looking for their first win of the season. We've hit the half. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. By far, Washington State's best first half of the year. They lead 50-30 over St. Thomas. Davis Hagen alongside Charlie Templeton as we get set for the second half of play here in Beasley Coliseum. 58 total first half points coming into this game between the Idaho game and the Davidson game for Washington State. 50 in this first half against St. Thomas. Definitely a great showing for the Cougs. Charlie, what impressed you most about that first half?
It was Tomas Strasserson. He's been fantastic. He is at 18 points in the first half. At one point, it was 80% of the points. Then it was 50. Cooled off a little bit, but he's been fantastic from three. And even when he isn't scoring, the scoring gravity that he represents, he's dangerous out there. St. Thomas's defense is having to kind of swarm to him a little bit. That's opening up a lot more options for the rest of this Washington State offense. And I think Washington State defensively has been very impressive. They, especially early in the game, they were doing a fantastic job at limiting St. Thomas. St. Thomas started off the game, I believe, 0 for 7 from three before they finally sank one. And just looking at who we were talking about earlier, Minnesota had a really bad start to this game. Couldn't get anything going. He's picked it up a little bit towards the end of the first half, where he has 8 points. Looking at who we're looking at for Washington State, Ugbo has 3, but he's done a lot of things that maybe won't show up on the score sheet. He's been very good defensively, got a couple boards as well. He's been key for really anchoring this Cougar defense. And offensively, again, he had a couple drives, got to the line once or twice. You have him kind of on the inside. You got Treston on the outside. That's a great combo, and those two combined are opening up a ton of options for the Cougars on both sides of the ball. Look for them to continue that in the second half. For St. Thomas, got to get better on the threes. 25% from three, not at all what they wanted. Better than their 0 for 7 start, but they got to start hitting these threes if they're going to come back from this 20-point deficit. They find themselves down 50-30 as we now just have 30 seconds before we start second half.
Another guy that was really impressive for Washington State was Adria Rodriguez, 9 points in the first half. Before that, coming into this game, the first 2 games combined, he was 1 for 7 from the field. He's got 9 points, shooting 4 of 5 from the field. So by far his best offensive game. He's also included a 3-pointer in there, and he had defenders on skates with a nice pump fake on a pass, had a defender fly by, laid up nice and easy, got a steal with his 7-foot wingspan, got another easy layup. And so it's very impressive to see him start to mold into a great point guard for this team. They need him to be a great point guard throughout this season.
Absolutely. Well, we got 20 minutes left to play here at Beasley Coliseum in Pullman, and we're ready for the second half.
50-30, Washington State in front. They bring out the starting 5 from the first half. It's Okafor, Ugbo, Morton, Thrasterson, and Rodriguez. For the Tommies, Dufault, the point guard, Ben Osterbahn, the forward, Carter Bierke, the big man down low, Minnesale, and Janowski, the wings. As we're underway in the second half, Cougars up by 20. The first possession is going to go through Ugbo on the outside. Looking to get rid of it, hounded by Osterbahn. Finds Morton on the outside, top of the key, bounce pass down low to Okafor, turning and firing with the right hand. The hook shot goes, and it's 52-30.
Andy Okafor was a guy we did not mention during half, but he's another guy that's really been benefiting from that 1-2 punch offensively. He's been able to get in there and get some points as well, and made an impact on the glass as well.
52-30. Cougars in front. Minnesota on the top of the key, guarded by Okafor. That's a mismatch if Minnesota can exploit it. 9 seconds to work with. Pump fake on the three, drives in against Thrasterson. Swing it to the corner with Bierke. The big man drives in, didn't realize the shot clock was expiring, and it's a turnover for St. Thomas on their first possession of the second half.
Yeah, it looked like he gets essentially the through pass down to the baseline, gets it, fakes the three, drives in, then realizes he should have taken the three because he's out of time, but that's too late.
52-30, Cougars in front, 19 minutes to play in the game. Okafor at the left elbow, inside the three-point arc, dribble handoff a couple of times, ends up in the hands of Andrea Rodriguez. The hedge on the screen from the Tommies left Ugbo wide open in the short corner on the right side, and he knocks down the jumper, 54-30 Cougs.
Cougars shooting 62% from the field early second half.
18:40 remaining in the second half. Minnesota on the outside, swinging it around the perimeter. Janowski back to Minnesota, finding Bierke, the big man. His three-pointer no good still yet to knock one down. He's now 0 for 5 from the three-point line. Ugbo tracks down the board, spinning in the lane, gets fouled as he hits the deck, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots. Emmanuel Ugbo, the Boise State transfer, coming into this game, led the team in points tonight. It's Tomas Thrasterson. Ugbo just 3 points and 3 rebounds in the first half. He goes to the free throw line for the first time in the second half. First free throw is good. So Ugbo's already scored in the second half. That puts him up to 6 points. So he's already at the same mark he was in the first half. 3 and 3 so far. Second free throw up and in. 56-30. 18:22 on the clock in the second half. Minnesota will slowly dribble it up towards half court. Finding Osterbahn hounded by Thrasterson. Pass to Dufault, top of the key, driving in. Blocked by Rodriguez into the first row of the stands. What a job by Rodriguez.
He's using every inch of that wingspan. Comes flying in on that one. Rejects it away and sends it into the bleachers.
Rodriguez really finding his role on this team. Defensive point guard for the Cougars. Millie with the dribble drive against Ugbo. Minnesota finds Berke, who finally knocks down his first three-pointer of the game. Just got to keep firing him. 56-33, the new score. Rodriguez on the outside. Around the perimeter to Okafor. Dribble handoff to Ugbo. Off the screen from Okafor. Driving in, off the glass and in over Osterbahn.
And looking back at that last possession for the St. Thomas Tommies, they keep giving it to Bierke at the top of the key because he's open. He's been open. He just hasn't been able to get him to fall until that last possession. I don't think it's a matter of they're not going to give it to him because he's not shooting them well. They're giving it to him because he has the ability to hit them wide open, and he finally did.
He's 1 for 6 in this game. Osterbahn to Minnesota will drive in and leave it short for the Cougars to pick up another rebound. And Minnesota just continues to struggle against this defense. Rodriguez picked up his dribble on the short corner on the far side of the court. Okafor to Thrasterson, sets his feet, top of the key, three-pointer off the back of the rim. Offensive rebound for Rodriguez.
31 total rebounds in this game. Washington State winning that battle 23-8.
Turnover from Rodriguez, but then he tips it out of bounds on the Osterbahn pass that was trying to accelerate the Tommies down court. Rodriguez knocked it out of play, but will come to the bench along with Okafor as Yalaho and Glass check back into the game. 16:41 on the clock, 58-33 the score. Minnesota inbounded it, now gets it back. Cross-court pass to Osterbahn, wide open three-pointer, flick of the wrist, no good. Ace Glass gets the rebound, pushing the pace for the Cougs. Crossing over against Dufault, losing the ball, and Dufault picks it up, lobs it ahead for Janowski, who will lay it in. Tomas Thrasterson chased him down, but couldn't get the block.
Thrasterson almost did get to that one. Little bit too lackadaisical for St. Thomas. They're not going to get punished that time, but they have to be careful if they get another one of those.
58-35, Cougars lead, and David Riley doesn't like what he saw the last couple of possessions with back-to-back turnovers from Washington State. 16:04 on the clock. 58-35 the score. Cougars in front. We'll step away. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. (58-35) lead for Washington State with 16:04 on the clock left in this game, and Charlie Minnesali not having his best night. Only 8 points so far for the Tommies.
No, and for a player that averages 22 through the first 2 games of the season, St. Thomas knows that's why he's the biggest offensive player on the team. Washington State clearly knew it. They looked at the game plan here. They've been really targeting him on the defensive side of the ball, and Minnesota has just not had the night he's wanted. 8 points. 16 minutes to turn it around. That's still a lot of time. He could start to get hot, but has not so far. Cougar defense has been playing fantastic against him so far.
He's got 8 points and 4 assists for the Tommies, but they're going to need him to heat up on the offensive side, putting the ball through the hoop if they want to have a chance in this game. 58-35, back underway with Reeve Vavers checked into the game. Morton swings it to Vavers, spotting up for a three-pointer, too strong off the back of the rim, and a foul called on the rebound against Minnesota, it looks like, against St. Thomas.
That'll be his 3rd foul. He's got to be careful because still a lot of time to play. That means plenty of time to pick up some more fouls for him. And you got to think if he gets tossed in this game, that really hurts St. Thomas's chances of coming back.
Absolutely. You can't score if you're on the bench, and we've doubled up on timeouts. We've reached the under 16 media timeout. 58-35, Cougars in front. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. (58-35) as we're done with the media timeout. Players ready to come back on the court, but Charlie, so far, foul trouble for St. Thomas, not so much for Washington State.
No, for St. Thomas, Hero has 2, Berkey has 2, and Minnesota has 2 as well. three best players, at least today anyway, all but two. Washington State, 5 fouls total, 2 of them on Ugbo, only 3 in the first half. Fantastic discipline from this Washington State team. Fouls lead to easy shots, and if you foul out, you can't help your team from the bench.
Absolutely right. And you say the easy shots at the free throw line. Cougars shooting 100% so far from the charity stripe. And we're back underway with the inbound for the Cougars. Yalaho on the far side. 10 seconds to shoot. Gets it to Vavers on the near side. Kicks it back to Yalaho. He'll fire for 3 and knock it down. 61-35 Cougars. Dominant so far.
Great action there, top of the key. Give and go, couple quick passes. Someone breaks a little bit loose of the defender. You only need a step to get away. Sinks the 3. Washington State now with 61 points.
By far, Yalaho's best game as a Washington State Cougar. The transfer from Texas Tech. He only averaged between 3.5 to 4 points in his 2 seasons with the Red Raiders. Minnesale gets free on the dribble drive. Right-hand layup is good.
So he's in the double digits. 15 minutes to go. He finally gets his 10th point.
61-37. 15 minutes to play. Ace Glass in the corner. Fires to Jerome Morton, top of the key. Thought about letting it fly. Gets it to Vavers, the better three-point shooter. He lets it fly. Doesn't go. And Janowski gets the rebound. Minnesale pushing the pace into the lane. And a physical finish knocks Vavers to the floor. And now he's up to 12, 61-39.
I was telling you at halftime, he might heat up, and it looks like, don't look now, but it looks like he might. 2 straight possessions, 4 points for Minnesota.
Hildebrandt to Glass on the far side, guarded by Austin Hero. Out to Morton. Ghost screen from Hildebrandt on the pop. Will fire a 3. Too strong off the rim and out of play. The ball goes to St. Thomas. Vavers does not like it. And Riley asking if he might want to challenge that, which is a new rule in college basketball. You can challenge. You can challenge if it's an out-of-bounds play, depending on who touched it.
And there is some discussion down there on the Cougar bench.
And Riley talking to the officials, not going to challenge it. And I don't think that would be the right call to challenge it up 61-39 on a off chance that you might get the ball back.
I agree. Very borderline call there. Really could have gone either way. With the current score, current situation, I'd save it just in case you get a St. Thomas comeback and you really need it later.
14 minutes to play in the paint to Johnson Arrigu. Good pass from Austin Hero, and the Tommies have cut the lead to 20 after the layup.
Well, both times we've gone to the first media time out of a half, and St. Thomas has looked quite a bit better coming out of it.
Parker Garrett's will fire a 3. Too strong. Yalaho couldn't get the rebound. Minnesale racing the other way quickly off the miss from Garrett's. 13:38 on the clock. Tommy's down 20. Kick to Minnesale. Jab step against Rodriguez. Washington State's best perimeter defender, and a foul is going to be called on the ground. Minnesale trying to say he was shooting, but there was no way he was shooting. He still had the ball but he didn't really have the ball. There's no way he could have shot that.
No, and I will mention last couple possessions from St. Thomas, they have been playing up-tempo, playing with urgency, down 20 with 13:31 to go. They're going to inbound. A great chance to cut the lead to below 20 for the first time since about 5 minutes left in the first half.
It's been a long time since the Tommies have found life on offense. Cougars have been dominant so far in this game. Lafferty top of the key for St. Thomas. Again, the Tommies in the purple, Cougars in the white. Tommies on the right side of the court in this second half. Lafferty lost it off his foot, and a turnover for St. Thomas. They were on a 6-0 run over the last 2 minutes, but they give the Cougars the ball back with a chance to end that run. Cougars on a scoring drought of 2.5 minutes. 61-41. Hildebrandt on the outside. Repping the headband. Down low to Okafor. Strong finish inside. And it's 63-41.
Fantastic pass there into the paint. You got Okafor defender hanging on to him. Put it right where it needed to go for him to put that one up and in.
Jermaine Coleman, right side. Left-handed dribble drive into the paint. Pump fake gets 2 defenders in the air. Can't get the roll. Garrett's the smallest player on the court. Comes down with the rebound. 12:38 to play. Cougars up 63-41. Garrett swings it to Rodriguez, looking for Hildebrandt down low, guarded by Hero. They couldn't get it to him. They tried to get it to Vavers, and a foul is going to be called on Hero.
So that'll be his third then.
Unless they might call it on Lafferty. We'll see exactly who they call it on. No official report yet. If it's on Hero, it would be his third. If it's on Lafferty, it would be his first. So no official report yet. That could be a big foul if it's on Austin Hero.
Fouls on number 11.
And so it is on Austin Hero. That's his third foul, as Charlie mentioned. He's one of their most electric players. They don't put him on the bench because at this point you need all the offensive firepower you can get. Rodriguez will inbound it to Ugbo. On the left block of the left side of the court. Dribble handoff to Rodriguez outside. Down low to Okafor. Turns in the lane. Missed the shot. Tries to get the offensive rebound and pushes over a Tommy defender. It was Johnson Origu that got pushed over, and Okafor picks up the foul.
Looking at St. Thomas here for a second, given the current score, given the current game situation, I don't think you pull your guys for foul trouble. I think you just need to keep them in. If they foul out, they foul out. You need your best players on the court for as long as possible if you're going to try to climb your way out of a 22-point hole.
Johnny Towers' team trying to end going down swinging. The miss from Coleman. Rodriguez gets the rebound quickly, pushing the pace to Thrasserson. Misses the reverse layup. Ugbo tries to go get the rebound, and he knocked it out of play off of Austin Hero, and we've reached the under 12 media timeout. 63-41, Washington State in front. The Tommies are now on a scoring drought of over 2 minutes. Cougars looking to finish strong and pick up their first win of the year. 11:57 remaining. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Over 2 minutes since the last basket for St. Thomas. Washington State up 63-41 with 11:57 remaining in this game. And Charlie, the defense for Washington State has been great in this game so far.
Absolutely. Well done to Okafor and as well to Ugbo. Both times in both halves when that first media timeout has happened, St. Thomas comes out. They look a little bit better. We're able to close the lead up to, I think, 6 at one point in that first half. Second half, this time, Cougar defense quite a bit stronger, preventing any runs. And even if the Tommies do go on a run, Washington State, big lead, chance to stem the tide if they need to.
63-41 as we're back underway. Rodriguez gets the inbound and turns it over. They're trying to hit a backdoor cut, and he threw it right out of bounds. And so it's 63-41 still, but a turnover for the Cougars gives the ball back to St. Thomas. Don't want to give the Tommies any life. And they're the preseason favorite to win the Summit League. And this is their first year that they're actually eligible for the NCAA tournament. The NCAA voted in January to downgrade the amount of years that it took for you to become eligible from 5 to 4 years. So now they're finally eligible. Minnesota on the outside, 10 to shoot for the Tommies, down by 22. Double teamed by Rodriguez and Garrett. He puts it up and he gets fouled.
Well, and despite not being eligible, didn't stop him last year from almost taking the conference crown. Fell just short to Omaha.
Absolutely. That was a great tournament in the Summit League. Even if they would have won it, they wouldn't have been eligible, but they lost to Omaha. It was the Mavericks' first time they've ever won the league. They went on to lose in the first round, but St. Thomas this year picked first, and it's got to feel great for a program that jumped from D3 all the way up to D1 just 4 years ago, as Minnesota knocks down the first of 2 free throws. His second one is perfect. 63-43, 11:22 to play. Garrett's will inbound to Rodriguez. Man-to-man pressure shown from St. Thomas. 11:15 remaining. Rodriguez has it poked away off his knee, and another turnover by Rodriguez. And Austin Hero gets the ball back for St. Thomas.
Yeah, just a bit of a sloppy play. A little unfortunate that one went off his knee there. Second straight turnover from him. He's clearly not happy about it.
Rodriguez trying to get the ball back on defense, going against Austin Hero. Gets to the free throw line before Rodriguez pokes the ball away. Hero finds Bierke in the corner. Back to Hero to the top of the arc with Minnesota way out by midcourt. Starts his dribble drive against Rodriguez. Kick to the corner. Bierke, another three. Bounces off the front of the rim, and he has not had a great night shooting. 1 for 7 now, the big man for St. Thomas. Rodriguez, top of the key. Swing it to Ugbo. Dribbling down against Minnesota. Swing it to Okafor. 2 steps into the lane and lobs it in. 65-43. Okafor with the nice finesse.
I'm not exactly sure how he made that. He's falling the wrong way and kind of just tosses it up. Just a little flick of the wrist, and doesn't matter how he shoots it. If it goes in, it goes in.
And the Okafor up to 10 points. Minnesota on the other side, firing from 3. That's no good. Again, St. Thomas missing a three-pointer. It's happened 17 times tonight. They're just 5 of 22. 10 minutes to play in the second half. 65-43. Cougars in front. Okafor with the rip through. Offensive foul called off the ball.
They're going to call that on Ugbo. That's going to be his 4th.
Emmanuel Ugbo was our impact player to start this game. He's got 9 points in this game.
Third person. 4th team foul.
So the 4th team foul picked up by the Cougars, and only the 3rd foul called on Ugbo. But a lot of fouls called on him alone. Washington State only has 9 personal fouls. He's got a third of them.
Well, he has to be careful because if they lose him, that's going to be a big loss both offensively and defensively. Okafor, I want to mention him real quick, has done a fantastic job tonight on Minnesota.
Janowski knocks down the three-pointer for St. Thomas, so they finally knock one down. It felt like forever since St. Thomas has made a three-pointer. Ugbo responds with a dagger of his own from deep. Emmanuel Ugbo knocks it down, and he's up to 12 points. 68-46 advantage for Washington State.
Who's getting everybody involved in the offense today. Great team performance all around from them so far today.
Ugbo strips it from Minnesota, but they call a foul on Emmanuel Ugbo. That's his 4th personal foul. And now Riley looking on to the officials like, what? What am I supposed to do with that when he hits the ball?
Yeah, and I do think he has a right to be upset. They're very minimal contact. They're his 2nd foul, also not much contact. I think it's pretty clear frustrations there, both from everybody on the Cougar side about that, but is what it is, and they'll be shooting too. St. Thomas will.
So Ugbo with that hard swipe down, that's really what gets you the foul almost every time. Even if you hit the ball when you come over, definitely got his hand in the cookie jar, and Minnesota does a great job to draw the foul. So he'll go to the free throw line for 2. He knocks down the first. Ugbo comes out. Yalaho into the game. Morton in for Rodriguez. And so 68-47 the score. Minnesota at the free throw line, and he's pure on the second one. So 68-48 the new score. 9:15 to play in the basketball game. Morton crosses over half court, guarded by Janowski, who just hit the 3 a couple possessions ago for St. Thomas. Morton on the give and go. Couldn't get it back to Okafor. Ace Glass in the corner gets the pass. Dribbles it back out, asks for a screen from Okafor. They double team him. They dump it down to Okafor, jumps in the air, swings it to the corner. Morton drives down the baseline, picks up his dribble in the middle of the key, floats in the air, kicks it out to Yalaho, who fires the three and misses it. And then Glass comes from behind after the rebound from Johnson Arrigo and turns over the Tommies.
On that last Washington State possession, ball movement, one of the fundamentals of basketball. This Washington State team so far today has been doing it so well. A lot of passes, great decision-making, too. Okafor, you can tell he kind of wanted to go up for that one, realizes he wasn't going to get it, so he shuffles it off across down the side. And they end up with the ball again. Fortunately, it didn't go in for them the first time, but they have the ball back. Great chance here.
Thrasterson off the inbound, tried to dribble it down. The initial pass was to Okafor, but he got harassed down low. Kicked it out to Thrasterson, and he tried to drive it in, and he picks up a foul against St. Thomas.
Thrasterson, not too much this half. Monstrous first half for him, 18 points. Hasn't done too much since. He's looking to get some more points on the board here.
They inbound it to Okafor quickly, working against Osterbond, backing him down, gets to the middle, floats it with the left hand, and puts it in. 70-48 Cougars.
Well, they put 3 defenders on him. Still didn't matter. Ended up getting it in anyway. 70 points for Washington State. That lead has been hovering between 20 and 25 for most of the second half. It's at 22 at the moment. Plenty of time left for it to change.
On the outside for St. Thomas, Osterbond gets it on the far side into the middle of the lane for Johnson Arrigo, who gets fouled hard by Okafor. He'll go to the line for 2 shots after the miss.
Seems that the Cougars disciplined defensively. You're talking about it. They've been fantastic at not committing fouls they didn't need to. Feel like it's starting to slip a little bit. Couple of fouls that they really did not need to commit as they get to the end of this game here. 8:09 to play. Washington State leading 70-48. 49 now.
So Hildebrandt will come back in for Okafor after he picked up the foul. 70-49 the score. Johnson Arrigo with 1 more free throw coming. Last year, played 8 games at Miami. Then Jim Larinaga got fired at Miami. And then he entered the portal and enrolled at Iowa for a little bit. Never played a game for the Hawkeyes. And then decides to leave and go play for St. Thomas. So he's been around the block. And he knocks down his second free throw. So 70-50, the lead for the Cougars. Still around 20, as Charlie mentioned. It's been hovering between 20 and 25. Thrasterson spinning into the lane. Puts up a shot, too strong. Yalaho offensive rebound. He misses it. So 2 misses on that possession for the Cougars. Tibbetts quickly down the lane. Kick it to the corner with Tim Franks. His first appearance in this game. Back out to Osterbond. Pump fake on Yalaho. Dribble drive with the right hand to the right block. Kick it out to Johnson Arrigo. Double teamed inside. Has to find an outlet. 10 seconds to shoot. Step back 3 for Janowski, who got the ball. And it's a 3-pointer that goes for St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, a little bit of a run here. Got that lead down to 17.
Ace Glass puts the 3 up in transition. He missed it. Johnson Arrigo gets the rebound. Kick it to Janowski. He was open, but had the extra pass to Franks. Gets it back. Fires the 3 and missed it. If he would have just taken the first one, he probably could have knocked that down. 7:08 to play in the second half. 70-53, Washington State in front. Glass, cross-court pass to Hildebrandt. Down low to Thrasterson. Swings it back to Glass all the way across, and he knocks down the 3-pointer. Turns to the bench and gets a high five.
Ugbo fired up about that one. Ace Glass drains the 3. Cougar lead back up to 20.
6:45 to play. Tibbetts at the top of the key, picks up his dribble, finds Franks. Down low to Johnson Arrigo, turns and fires from the short corner. Thrasterson rips down the board off the miss. 6.5 remaining. Thrasterson, coast to coast, loses the dribble and turns it over. So another media timeout has arrived. Exactly 6 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. 73-53. Cougars out in front, looking for their first win of the year against St. Thomas. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Biggest lead of the year so far for Washington State, up 73-53 over St. Thomas. And Charlie, how do they finish this game out?
Well, 6:30 to go. You're up 20. Just manage the lead. Doesn't need to be 20 at the buzzer. Just needs to be more than whatever St. Thomas has for the Cougs. You can get the lead down to 10. Don't get any of your guys in foul trouble. Don't get anybody injured. Manage the lead. Close this one out cleanly for Washington State. St. Thomas, if I'm them coaching, you got to up the tempo here. You're rapidly running out of time. If you can close the lead up, if you're up down 10 with about 3 minutes left, I think you might be within range. But they got to really get going and really start nailing their threes. They're going to have a chance to come back with this one. Still a little play for this one. Not over yet. 6:30 to go.
The style of play for St. Thomas does not benefit them in this 20-point hole. Only 2 games played through this season, but still kind of a taste of what their program has been for the last couple of years. Their pace is 189th in the country, only about 70 possessions per 40 minutes. They got to get going quickly here. They get it into Minnesota, who gets it to the corner with Bierke, and he knocks down the three-pointer, so he's finally come to life on that possession. And they cut it to under 20, so 6 minutes remaining. Rodriguez out at the top of the key, trying to orchestrate this offense for Washington State down the stretch. Hildebrandt to Rodriguez, top of the key, pressured shown by St. Thomas. Garrett's will swing it to Vavers. They've got a ball-handling crew out there for Washington State trying to not turn it over. Vavers gets the swing pass. One step to the left, and he knocks down his first 3 of the year.
Great response there from Washington State. You allow a lightning strike 3, essentially, right up the court. Bangs in the 3 to St. Thomas. Washington State slow, calculated response, and they answer right back.
Reeve Vavers with a perfect 3-point shot, and then on the other side, a foul called on the Cougars. Osterbrand will come out of the game, and Johnson Arrigo will check back in. Janowski gonna come back in for Tibbetts as the St. Thomas Tommies get their offensive unit onto the floor, trying to make a run. It's gonna be tough if the Cougars are shooting a high clip like they are. They're make 54% of their shots from the field so far, 43% from the three-point line, as Hero goes to the line for a 1-and-1 and knocks down the first. Boston Hero kind of bursts onto the scene in the first half with 3 early points and then has tapered off since with foul trouble and limited access to the ball as he knocks down both free throws. He's up to 5 points for the Tommies. They cut the lead to 18. 5.5 to play. Rodriguez gets the inbound, dribbles it over half court. Surveying the defense, Yalaho gets the pass at the top of the key. Underhand delivery to Parker Garrett's. Back to Vavers on the left wing. Cougars moving around the perimeter. Nothing inside the paint yet. Hildebrandt gets the ball top of the key. Dribble drive, spin, turnaround. Shot is good. 78-58.
Nice move there to get past his defender. Gets a little bit of separation, just enough to get the shot over the defender up, and then Washington State backs up that lead to 20, where it's been for basically the entire night.
Minnesota driving and knocks down Hildebrandt. It's going to be another foul on Simon Hildebrandt. And that'll put Minnesota to the free throw line. He's got 16 points tonight. He averages 22, so he might get there, but it's been a real struggle for him to find an open lane. Cougars have been all over him on defense, but credit to him for still trying to find ways to get to the cup.
Absolutely, and if he gets another basket here, he could take the crown of the leading scorer tonight's game for both sides.
Misses the free throw, though, so the Cougars get a break off the foul from Hildebrandt. Rodriguez comes the other way with the ball. 4:45 to play. Cougars still up by 20. Rodriguez sets his feet on the left wing, fires a 3. It's no good. Vavers trying to go for the rebound off the miss, and it goes out of bounds, and the Tommies will take it back. So 4:38 to play. It's been a great showing so far for the Cougars. Inbound to Janowski. Rodriguez is right there to poke it away. Full court pressure shown from Washington State. Still being aggressive, trying to finish out this game.
So looking at the last couple of minutes for St. Thomas, they've looked quite a bit better than they did especially at the beginning of the game and even really in the beginning of the first half. But that lead has not come down. Still remains at 20, and they're running out of time.
Minnesota coast to coast quickly gets fouled, and he was at the rim in a hurry. He'll go back to the free throw line for 2 shots. And Vavers will pick up a foul. First personal foul for Reeve Vavers. But that is 9 fouls for Washington State. So now the Tommies in a double bonus, but Minnesota off the miss will have 2 free throws. First one on the way. High arcing shot is pure, so it's 78-59. Austin Hero comes out. Tibbetts will check back in. 78-59. Second free throw, hits the front of the rim, bounces a couple times, and goes down to make it 78-60. Full court pressure from St. Thomas, trying to come back in this game, down by 18, 4.5 minutes to play. Rodriguez calmly over half court to Yalaho. Trying to go back up by 20. Cross-court pass to Hildebrandt at his feet, picks it up, fires the 3. No good. Offensive rebound for Vavers that came free to him, and he puts it back for 2. And now it's 80-60, and a foul called on Rodriguez as Janowski brought it up the floor. So a quick foul in transition. And that's going to be 2 free throws for St. Thomas. So they're living at the free throw line down the stretch of this game, and they have 2 the rest of the way after every foul on the Cougars.
They had a long drought of shooting free throws. They had 67% of them. They've now upped that percentage to 80.
Janowski misses the front end of his 2-shot trip to the free throw line, and he's nothing but net on the second one. So the lead 19 for Washington State with 4 minutes to play. Trying to pick up their first win of the year. Lost to Idaho last Monday, and then on the road at Davidson.
And really an all-around fantastic team game from Washington State. They really needed this after what happened last week. They've looked great, and they're going to really hope they can carry this momentum to Friday when they host the Huskies in the Apple Cup.
The ball was poked out of bounds from behind. Yalaho had it. It goes out of bounds. We've reached the under 4 media timeout. 80-61. Cougars in front trying to close it out against St. Thomas. 3:55 on the clock. We'll step away as well. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Police. Cougars with their best game of the year so far, up 80-61 over St. Thomas. Under 4 minutes to play. This St. Thomas team, very formidable, projected to make the NCAA tournament in the preseason. And Charlie, we talked about it in the open. They're very similar to the teams that Washington State has played so far this year.
Yeah, not necessarily in play style, in players, but in quality of team. They're very similar to Idaho, very similar to Davidson. 2 teams that Washington State lost to, and they've looked a whole lot better today, given that they are winning by 19 with 3:55 to go, second half. Just got to hold on to this lead now, and they're going to pick up a much-needed win. And this is a great sign for Washington State, given you can just see the progression this season. Played Idaho close, played a Davidson team where you got down massively in the first half, and then they've just controlled this game entirely today, start to finish. Still a little bit of time left on the clock, but 19-point lead. Got to feel safe with 4 minutes to go.
They're doing the same thing that Davidson did to them, so now they're kind of flipping that script, and I think I would credit if they can hold on. The start so far for Washington State, there's only 4 minutes to play, but that early start in this game, they jumped out to a big lead against St. Thomas. They haven't given it up yet. Still a 19-point game. Anything can happen in the last 4 minutes. A lot of basketball to be played, but that early start for Washington State is what they need to continue to do. They can't afford to get down early in these games, and their defense has been great tonight as well. Rodriguez to inbound it as we resume play. Under 4 minutes remaining. Rodriguez off the dribble handoff from Okafor. Kick it out to Thrasserson. Drive in. Pass to the free throw line with Okafor, puts it on the deck and gets swarmed immediately, rolling on the ground. 2 players there for St. Thomas, and they finally tie him up. Okafor was still trying to track down that ball, and it's going to go back to St. Thomas.
Yeah, driving into the 2 defenders, not exactly sure what he was intending there. Have to guess he's trying to draw a double team, kick it back out. Lost control of his dribble, turns it over. St. Thomas will be taking it the other way.
The 6'3" Austin Hero was right there to swat at that ball, and when you're 6'10" in Okafor, you start to dribble that ball, it's almost 6 feet, maybe 5 feet off the ground, and those smaller players like to just grab at it and nibble at your ankles down there. So 3:30 to play. Minnesota on the outside. He's got to get really hot for St. Thomas if they want to make a comeback. Top of the key to the free throw line. Cross-court pass to Janowski. Thought about pulling the trigger. Gets picked up by Garrett, spinning to the cup. Pump fake inside against Ugbo. Has to fire it back out to Johnson Arrigu. Pull-up jumper, mid-range, no good. Battle for the rebound. Okafor comes to grab it. And another jump ball call. That's a quick whistle, but the Cougars will get the ball back. In case why not, coming into the game for the first time is the record-setting scorer at Lapwai High School in Idaho. Became Idaho's all-time leading scorer. Broke that record with nearly 3,000 points in his high school career. So 3 minutes to play. Thrasserson brings it up the court. Yet to score in the second half. He had a career-high 18 points in the first half. Previous career high was 17 against Idaho last Monday. Morton gets a screen from Okafor, illegal. He hip-checked Hero, and it's a turnover for the Cougs.
Well, I did say keep yourself out of foul trouble, manage the lead. They did a good job managing the lead. Little bit sloppy on the turnovers, a little bit sloppy on the fouls. Up 19 with 2:45 to go. I think you can afford to, but the Cougars, I imagine, would like to end this game cleanly and on a strong note before they head to the Apple Cup on Friday.
Minnesota top of the key against Okafor. Trying to get free. Kicked it out to Janowski for a three-pointer. That's perfect. And it's 80-64. So all of a sudden the Cougs need to get some points on the board before St. Thomas goes on a bigger run. Ugbo on the left side. Dribble handoff to Morton to the free throw line. Still looking for an outlet. Almost turned it over. Janowski in the passing lane. Thrasserson gets the ball. Dribbling with the right hand into the lane. Couple Tommies there, and he is fouled. I don't know if they're going to call him on the shot or on the ground because he got hacked enough that he couldn't put it up, and they're going to give him 2 shots.
Yeah, I think you have to give him 2 there. He was trying to go up, but was being physically forced to not. I think you have to give him 2 there.
So Tomas to the free throw line. His chance for his first points of the second half, and he knocks down the first one. So 81-64. Cougars with a good lead with 2:08 to play. That's the 4th foul on Austin Hero.
That's his 19th points of the game, looking for 20 here.
Tomas misses the free throw off the front of the rim, so he's stuck at 19. Has yet to get to 20 in his college career.
Is that the first missed free throw the Cougars have had tonight?
It is the first miss. They were shooting 14 of 14 earlier. They're now 15 of 16. They've dropped down to 94%. So keen eye from Charlie. Minute 45 to play. Janowski on the baseline. Guarded by Yalaho. Gets it to Johnson Arrigu, and he scores with the right hand.
Tommy's closing up a little bit. I don't think they're going to have enough time. Just over 90 seconds to play. Washington State leading 81-66.
Tomas Thrasserson drives in and gets bumped. A foul called on Carter Bierke. And so Tomas will go to the free throw line, and he won't. So they're not quite in the bonus yet. One more foul put him at the free throw line. So Morton will go to throw it in. Tomas wanted the free throw so he could get the 20.
Still has a good chance to get it here, though.
Minute 30 to play. 81-66. Cougars in front. Trying to pick up their first win, and they're well on their way. Morton on the outside will drive in. Hanging in the air, gets it rejected. What a block by Johnson Arrigu, who was almost had his head on the rim. Bierke will get the three-pointer, sets his feet, and he misses it. That's a fitting end for St. Thomas with a miss from Bierke, who's now 2 of 9 from the three-point line. Ugbo pulled down the board. Morton tries to do a no-look pass, and it's intercepted by the Tommies. Minnesota going coast to coast with the layup. An athletic layup called, and they're going to call a timeout just to get some substitutions in. As Tibbetts and Franks come back in, Minnesota will head to the bench. His day is done. He finishes with 20 points on 6 of 10 shooting, 0 for 2 from the three-point line. And again, he's now 3 straight games with 20 points, so definitely their best offensive weapon, but he really couldn't get going efficiently tonight.
Well, so slightly below average night for him. You can't put this loss on him. He did basically everything he could. Washington State's defense, great job game planning for him, and I think the rest of the offense just had to step up tonight, and they did not.
Rasterson with 45 seconds to play. Gets it to Ugbo, back to Wynot on the cross-court pass. His three-pointer no good. His first shot of the game. Johnson Arrigu will kick it to the corner. Tim Franks will let it fly, and he knocks it down. So Tim Franks gets in the scoring column with a 3, and that's the 10th made 3 of the game for St. Thomas. But Morton will dribble it into the front court and hold it. They won't be able to run out all of the time, and now they eliminate the shot clock, so they will be able to take all of the time off the clock. Morton will dribble it out. Washington State is going to be able to pick up their first win of the year against a very good St. Thomas squad. St. Thomas did well to cut the lead to 10 at the end of the game, but the Cougars led by 20 most of the way. The final score, 81-71. Cougars move to 1-2 on the year. The Tommies dropped their second game of the early season. They're going to be a great squad this year, probably compete for a championship in the Summit League, but the Cougars get a much-needed win. Charlie, what did you think so far with that game? Well, wrapping up now, having 81 points for the Cougars. It was a good first half, and then they finished well in the second.
Washington State needed a game exactly like what they got today. You can't, looking at this team, you can't really say anybody for Washington State did not perform their role exactly how they needed to do it. Fantastic job from the entire team today. They built momentum. They took on a similar caliber opponent that they did last 2 games. Got a big win at home. And I imagine there's going to be some celebrations at home tonight. Fantastic win for Washington State. And as for St. Thomas, I absolutely agree with your point. This team is going to be competing for a championship in the Summit League. Not the game they wanted today, but they'll get back at it. They're going to be definitely a powerhouse in their conference. Can't imagine that they wouldn't be. Put up a good fight today. You just can't have the three-point shooting night that they did, and that's what it cost them tonight.
So the Cougars go to 1-2, as Charlie was talking about throughout the game, and the Cougars getting ready for this big matchup coming up on Friday at 8 p.m. here in Beasley. Washington and Washington State in the Apple Cup. That's going to be a great matchup. Can the Cougars get to 2-2 on the year? They pick up their first win here against St. Thomas. It was a great game from Tomas Anderson, the leading scorer for the Cougars, picked up a new career high tonight with 19. Okafor goes for 12. Ugbo also goes for 12. Rodriguez had his best offensive game of the year with 9. And on the other side, Janowski for St. Thomas, the leading scorer for them with 22 points. And Minnesota, averaging 22 this year, only ends up with 20. And we talked about at the end of that game, not on him. He tried everything he could.
Absolutely. Well, all eyes on Friday, and that game will be right here on KUGR.
Absolutely it will. I'll be on the call with Josiah Frank. And that'll do it for our coverage here tonight. The final score, 81-71 for KUGR and Charlie Templeton. I'm Davis Hagen saying so long from Pullman. Enjoy your evening.